Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining our webinar here today. As you all know, this is only going to be 20 minutes, so we're going to kick off nice and quickly. And we're going to take you through how you future-proof your commerce with 12 AI models that will transform your customer experience. Just by way of introduction, my name is Sergio. I'm the Senior Director of E-commerce Marketing at Coveo, and I'm joined today by Andrea. And Andrea is our Senior E-commerce Product Marketing Manager. I'm going to give Andrea a bit of an intro because I know normally he wouldn't want to toot his own horn, so I'm going to do it on his behalf. Prior to joining Coveo, he was part of a startup based in Italy that focused on NLP and semantic search, and they got acquired by Coveo in 2019. So Andrea joined from that acquisition. He has a PhD from the University of Edinburgh, and he's a widely cited author who's published 15 or more research articles on the various topics of A/B testing, personalization, and around big data and predictive capabilities as well. So he's our expert on commerce, customer experience, and all things to do with online shopping and retail. And he makes sure that he brings his academic rigor to anything that he presents and any data that he brings to anything such as today. So it's going to be an exciting conversation. I'm just the host, and Andrea is going to take over in a second. And what he's going to be discussing are the three key pillars to help transform your customer experience with AI. Just a few housekeeping parts to cover quickly. Everyone will be on listen-only mode. You can pop your questions in the Q&A, and we will review those at the end of the session. And the session is also being recorded, and we will send the presentation and everything and the recording out within about 24 hours of the event concluding. So welcome, everyone, anyone that's joined in the last few minutes. We're about to kick off, and I'll hand over to Andrea to take us through the agenda for our 20-minute session.
Good. Well, thank you so much, Sergio. So we're going to start with a very brief introduction to Coveo, and after that, we're going to look at some key considerations that really matter when it comes to choosing the right AI. And then we're going to try to unpack really these considerations and really see what AI models you need to leverage in order to elevate the customer experience across all of the relevant touch points. Also, we are going to look at what AI models are really important when it comes to drive good business across multiple objectives. And finally, we're going to focus on innovation, because AI and innovation are not stopping. So innovative AI models are really critical because digital leaders want to be part of the changes. So we're going to explore what the latest trends are and what innovative models you need to be able to leverage. And Sergio, I think that you are going to give us a bit of an introduction to Coveo.
Yeah, of course. Coveo is an AI platform, and for just over a decade, we've been building that platform with the help of the amazing people we get to work with, and those are the forward-thinking global enterprises that Coveo works with across every different aspect of our business. So, our aim is to make sure that everyone is able to gain a trusted AI experience advantage. So we work with about 700 brands to do this. Within the business, we have over 700 AI experts. And what we effectively do is we're one single AI platform that helps power capabilities across websites, commerce, which is specifically what we're talking about today, service and support, and workplace. And then within those, we have various models, and some of which obviously Andrea is going to go through today in this session, where we help power semantic search, AI recommendations, generative answering, and unify personalization across channels. So I'll hand back over to Andrea, and he's going to take us through the specifics.
Thank you so much, Sergio. So, all right, let's get started. So I'm going to start by highlighting how, since the early days of e-commerce, the ways in which shoppers search for and find products have changed, and have changed quite dramatically. Consider Amazon back in 2004. You can see it here. The search box was fairly small. It could only accommodate a maximum of 2 words. it wasn't really critical to driving business for Amazon, and it was empowered by AI. Now, fast forward to today, and Amazon search box is much bigger, as you can see here, and prominently placed at the forefront. Customers generally trust it, and when they use it, they usually receive relevant results. So to a significant extent, the centrality of search, the centrality that search has gained today is really due to the injection of powerful AI capabilities. So as we're saying here, AI really has ignited a new era for search and product discovery. And in turn, I mean, as a result, customer expectations have changed as well. Now 90% of shoppers, according to research from Forrester, rely on the search function on a retailer or brand website to find the product they intend to buy. So getting it right is really, really important. But the critical role of search goes even beyond e-commerce. So findings from our latest research show that 47% of shoppers rely on search on app or website to find products, even when they intend to buy in a physical store. And of course, it's not just search. Now, McKinsey reported that 67% of customers consider it highly important to be offered personalized product recommendations. So again, injecting AI to drive relevant search and product discovery is key because your customers expect it, or better, demand it. And I'm pretty sure you've heard it before. Nothing new, but adopting AI is no longer optional. If you don't adopt it, most likely your competitors will. But still, how can you win when not all AI is created equal? So today we'll look at 3 key areas that really separate leaders from laggards in the use and in the adoption of AI. So first, we find that leaders don't just apply AI to isolated parts of the search and discovery process, but really ensure consistent, relevant experiences across all touchpoints. Second, leaders also ensure that they apply AI to drive good business because, and this really requires the ability to effectively manage multiple goals and priorities that are inherent in the search and discovery process. And third, leaders know that, again, innovation never stops. So they are constantly looking for new ways, new tools based on cutting edge models and methods, and they really apply them to the most relevant use cases. So let's get started. So we said AI should be everywhere with AI models that are specific to the context of the customer and their journey. But what does that mean, really? Well, AI must power relevance everywhere because customer journeys are becoming increasingly complex with a growing number of touch points. So there are so many possible discovery moments. You can see here that from query suggestions and filters to category listings and product recommendations, there is such a wide range of touch points that you need to consider. And your customers really expect highly relevant and consistent experiences across all of these touch points. Now, I think it's important to say that there are some things you shouldn't do. One thing you shouldn't do is just pick and choose one or a few discovery touch points to focus on. Your customers actually come to your website with the goal of finding or discovering products, but their tactics and their behavior can really vary even widely. And here in this slide, what we want to provide is an illustration of this. So meet Anthony, who knows exactly what he wants and enters the query LG Smart TV OLED, expecting your search engine to understand what he's looking for and to show exactly that. Now meet Jane, who would instead like to receive some assistance through her search. I mean, she knows what she wants. I mean, she wants a smart TV, but she also expects you to help her refine her search. And since she's using her mobile device, she prefers to receive assistance from you in the form of query suggestions rather than filters. So she's going to start by typing smart TV, and she expects you to help her construct a meaningful query. And finally, consider John, who is still interested in receiving some assistance, but is instead searching from his desktop and would rather use smart filters instead of, to narrow down the result set instead of query suggestions. So he will enter the generic query Smart TV and will use filtering instead to navigate your catalog. So what you can see is that there is not a single linear journey that every customer will take. In fact, these journeys are quite different, and yet they all demand relevance. And really, data backs the claim that every customer is unique, with everyone doing quite different things. Maybe your customer is part of the 54% of shoppers that search from mobile. And if they are, they may be among those that really demand query suggestions when searching for products on an e-commerce website. Maybe they're part of the 57% of customers who use filters to narrow down the result set. Or if they aren't, actually, they might instead be part of that huge segment of shoppers that tend to reformulate queries. And what that means is just adding, changing, or really removing some words from the original query after some search results are shown. Finally, they may be part of the 50% of shoppers that tend to use product recommendations during the product discovery journey. So what you can see is that all of these touch points are important. So you cannot, or you should not, neglect any of them and deliver subpar experiences. So there are so many discovery moments, possible journeys, that your customer can really, be anywhere. And so AI has to be everywhere, powering relevance. But what does really, reality look like? Well, unfortunately, many touch points are often neglected, with experiences that are fairly underwhelming that are being offered by many brands and retailers. So for example, the Bay Marie Institute has conducted plenty of solid research on the topic, and they mentioned that query suggestions are provided by 80% of e-commerce websites, but only 19% of them get it right. And also they show that 34% of websites offer subpar filtering experiences, and that was actually confirmed also by our research at Coveo, as part of our relevance report 2024, which shows that actually 35% of shoppers report problems with filtering when shopping online. So there seems to be a sort of delivery expectation gap with customers that are expecting relevant experiences across multiple touchpoints and brands and retailers that are failing to deliver them. And now, bringing the perspective of Coveo, we definitely believe that AI must power relevance everywhere. That's why we offer 12 AI models, because we really want to inject relevance on each and every touch point. So for example, if you visit the website of LCBO, which is a large distributor and retailer of alcoholic beverages in Canada, what you will see is that even if your customer enters a query with a typo like Guinness here, Coveo will leverage AI to provide intelligent, helpful query suggestions, along with suggested categories that prove popular among customers. But there is more as well, because you can see relevant products and inspiring content that is also being surfaced and recommended. So you see, the customer has to do very little and they can get quite a lot. But another example comes from Blackfoods, which is instead Australia's largest supplier of industrial and safety products. As you can see, it doesn't really matter how broad or generic the search query is, in this case, gloves. Customers will be provided not only with relevant and optimized result sets, but also with dynamic, intelligent filters powered by AI to help seamlessly navigate the catalog. So just to recap, AI has to be everywhere at once, because your customers can interact with you anywhere and will demand consistent experiences. And at Coveo, we apply AI throughout the whole process, ensuring relevance across the journey for each and every customer. And second, AI must drive good business, we said. And what that means is that you have to leverage multiple models to balance multiple relevant goals, all the goals that you will find in e-commerce search and discovery. And of course, starting from precision and recall. So when we talk about search and more generally the field of information retrieval, as many of you may already know, recall and precision are the two critical factors and metrics. So just a quick refresher for all of you. Recall is how many of the total number of relevant options in e-commerce products on your website are returned by a search. So this is really equivalent to the idea of false negative. So how many items might be relevant but are not surfaced in the search results. So an example, if someone is searching for black trainers and you have 100 available, but only return 10, well, you've got a serious problem with recall. Precision is, on the other hand, about ensuring that only relevant products are presented, eliminating irrelevant results. So again, looking at that example, if someone is searching for black trainers and half of the products you return aren't black or aren't trainers, then the precision seems to be an issue. But balancing these two elements, precision and recall, really is crucial, because if you have poor recall, that really means that your shoppers won't find what they're looking for, which means they cannot, which means they cannot buy it. And they'll probably go, somewhere else to some of your competitors' websites, maybe Amazon. On the other hand, if you have low precision, you will clutter results with irrelevant products, which is frustrating for your customers and, again, possibly pushing them away. So really achieving the right balance between precision and recall is critical and requires multiple approaches, multiple techniques and tools. Again, disappointing news. Unfortunately, most websites are doing it wrong. For example, the Baymar Institute found that 70% of search engines fail to effectively handle synonyms, which is a clear problem with recall. Google research shows instead that 79% of consumers encounter issues with irrelevant search items in the result set. Again, suggesting in this case problems with precision as well. But then there are kinds of challenges and layers of complexity that are quite specific to e-commerce. So in e-commerce search, there are multiple stakeholders to keep in mind. And the interest might be aligned, but really have to be balanced effectively. Of course, you have brands, retailers, manufacturers, anyone really selling online who wants their customers to be able to find products and to find products that are relevant and tailored to their intent. But if you're a business selling online, you most likely have interests other than just ensuring customer satisfaction and presenting the most relevant products to customers when they search. For you, search experiences might also be informed by business priorities with results that are geared toward generating profit, clearing expiring inventory, and satisfying supplier relationships as well. So these are all critical business priorities for you. You can see plenty of articles discussing related pains. So that really means that if there are two products that are equally relevant and satisfying the customer search equally well, why wouldn't you want to prioritize products that are say more profitable to you? All this sounds nice and easy, but the truth is that achieving this balance is actually quite difficult and it requires advanced AI. So otherwise you really risk compromising your customer's experience and achieve the opposite of the intended improvement in terms of business outcomes. So again, bringing the perspective of Coveo, the way we address these challenges and trade-offs is by employing what we call a multi-layered approach to relevance, with multiple models across different layers of retrieval and ranking. So our approach starts with balancing precision and recall. How do we do it? Well, for instance, by leveraging semantic understanding, which means we can it doesn't really matter, looking at the example here, whether the word winter in winter jackets is contained in the product metadata. Coveo really understands what the relevant products are and returns all of them. But then again, Coveo's AI models are also fine-tuned based on successful outcomes and wisdom of the crowd, ensuring that result sets are attractive to shoppers because your customer experience demands that. And we also go beyond that to drive outstanding customer experience with what we call intent-aware product ranking, which adds a powerful layer of one-to-one personalization. And then, as we said, we don't neglect business outcome optimization. This is critical. So we use AI to also align customer experiences with business optimization, ensuring a balance that promotes KPIs without compromising the customer experience. So again, not all AI is the same because relevance in e-commerce is multi-layered, and an AI strategy that relies on a narrow set of models and tools will be unable to effectively balance all of these goals and objectives. So quickly, third point, innovation doesn't stop. It's critical to be part of the change. Why? Well, because if you're not incorporating the latest techniques, you're missing out on opportunities to elevate your customer experience and to drive business results even further. Meanwhile, your competitors might be leveraging these innovations, gaining a competitive edge by tapping new benefits. And just a reminder, when we say AI, this is actually a diverse landscape of technologies. For example, machine learning is a subset of AI, and deep learning is in turn a subset of machine learning. And most recently, Gen AI has attracted a lot of attention, fueled by the power of deep learning. Now, these new tools and techniques are not necessarily meant to replace existing ones. They all have their value in place. But what's important to highlight is that newer tools and additions can really help you tackle more use cases in search and product discovery, and more precisely, as we will see. So just quickly, new tools and technologies are constantly being introduced. So much is happening in AI. Just a few figures, a few statistics here. Planning to be fast followers cannot be enough. We frequently hear that AI is eating the world, and to be sure, the amount of money being invested, the outstanding growth in computational power and in complexity of AI models are impressive. Impressive are also the continuous improvements in performance that we're seeing across many domains. The success of AI has moved from tasks like image classification to highly complex ones like clinical diagnosis. Of course, you might ask, what about e-commerce? Well, the truth is that actually in e-commerce, we also see that AI and deep learning, more precisely, can be used to tackle very important use cases such as one-to-one personalization. You can see this technology in action on many of our customers' websites. Again, Bass Pro Shop is a nice example. If you visit the website, you will see that from query suggestions to search results and recommendation, you'll experience this sort of magic of real-time personalization with experiences that are adjusted based on your actions during an e-commerce sessions, on an e-commerce session. So this is really a compelling example of how progress in AI can really provide tools to address key use cases. So in this specific example, you see that we are able to read shoppers' minds, and if they are typing GR in the search box, they will get different query suggestions depending on whether, say, they've shown some interest in items for camping compared to, say, fishing. And of course, when we're talking about new breeds of AI, you'll probably wonder about Gen AI. For sure, it's the talk of the town. We know it. You can see here that in Gartner's latest hype cycle, it's at the peak of inflated expectation. So it's safe to expect that innovations in and around Gen AI will dominate and have a transformative impact. In e-commerce as well, we know that Gartner suggests that by 2027, 90% of tier 1 retailers will successfully execute at least one business transforming Gen AI use case. And again, I want to bring the Coveo perspective, because we definitely believe that there is plenty of value in Gen AI in e-commerce and retail. So at Coveo, we released last year Relevance Generative Answering, which in the context of e-commerce really helps us close one of the biggest gaps between the online shopping and the experience of buying in a physical store. It's really quite exciting because we finally have the opportunity to help e-commerce players answer complex questions about products by generating answers. So brands and retailers can really showcase their expertise and make the product discovery process dynamic, intuitive, and conversational. Of course, we also know that Gen AI, in Gen AI, the most difficult part these days is not necessarily the generation of context. Large language models can unleash plenty of creativity, but the problem is, to make sure that the answers are also accurate. So it becomes really critical to retrieve and feed the AI model with only relevant information so that it generates factually accurate, factually correct answers. So it's not easy. It's a complex engineering feat, but precisely because it's challenging, we're so excited to be the first product discovery vendor that went live with Gen AI capabilities. So this is very important. A use case that is conducive to ROI, and also one that avoids the pitfalls of introducing a brand new chat interface. Because Gen AI is really, in our case, injected into the traditional search interface, which customers are very familiar with. So to wrap up, certainly not all AI is created equal, and the tools you use, how you use them, and where is critical to driving business results and elevating your customer experience. That was all. And I hope it was useful. But I also know, Sergio, that we have a few resources, a few assets that we can recommend to our audience today in case they want to continue, learning about the role of AI in search and product discovery. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrea. I know that's a lot to pack into to a very short period of time. I'm sure everyone learned a lot from that. And if this is something that you're really interested in, you're doing a lot of research on at the moment, and you haven't read our AI guide for search and product discovery, there's a lot more of what Andrea just spoke about. There's a lot more of where that came from inside that guide. So we have the QR code up on the screen at the moment, so you can easily scan that with your phone if you wish, and the links are being put in the chat as well. So that's a really good place to start if you've got some research you want to do and just learn a bit more about the space and what it means for your business. If you're a bit further down the line and you're looking to kind of select a search or product discovery vendor, then we have an RFP template to help you kind of choose and put out the right questions when it goes to coming to market. So have a look at that, download that as well. Same different QR code is there, same process. If you are further down the line and you are more interested to see how AI can really change your search that you have today, then Coveo has something called the AI Experience Pilot, which enables you to very simply see the way in which Coveo could power the search on your actual e-commerce store. It also give you a flavor, if you have good amounts of content, to see what Gen AI could do for your business as well. So there's the option there to fill in a form and request a pilot, and one of our members of team will get back to you. But Andrea, thank you very much for all of that. Really appreciate it. We have sort of run out of time, but I'm just going to bump us up to the half an hour slot because we have a couple of questions here that have come in. The first one here is the person has said, I'm working to spin up a search project internally. So it'd be useful to know what sort of value can a business expect from a search engine like this?
That's a very great question. So the most obvious, tangible results are, of course, some uplift in, critical KPIs. So we have customers like Caleres, the parent company of many recognizable brands like Allen Edmonds, Famous Footwear, and others that have experienced really double-digit uplifts in conversion rates. In other cases, we have customers like Fleet Pride, a big distributor of truck parts in North America. They chose Coveo for an ambitious, more transformative digital transformation journey, and they really boosted the role of digital channels for them. And it's not just about increasing traffic, driving more business, and automating tasks. They really are also cementing the relationship with customers through a great customer experience. So again, it depends, but there are plenty of ways in which we can really help you drive success.
Nice. Thank you, Andrea. Got another question here. So assuming that a website isn't powered by Coveo, what elements do you look at to know if it's truly powered by AI?
Well, there are a number of ways. I think that a very interesting test is the sort by price. So if you sort by price, low to high, it's not by relevance, and you're going to see whether the result set, the products that were shown to you, were actually a messy set of results, or if there is hygiene. So again, there are a number of ways, and again, we have plenty of blog posts, and in the guide that you mentioned earlier, we talk about some of the tests that you can use to spot some of the problems. But again, I think that again, in e-commerce, ranking is not everything. So bringing a very a set of relevant results is critical, and many websites are struggling to do that. So that's also why you see many facets and filters being irrelevant, because the result set is quite messy to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think also what's interesting to look at is if you do browse on that site, do it on purpose, but show intent towards a particular category. If you then go back, does it change and personalize to you without just showing relevant products? Recent products. I think that's a way in which people sometimes try and get around it, and there's no AI required for that. Last question. I'm going to summarize it, and I'll also answer it, I think, as well, Andrea, if you don't mind. But effectively, the answer is, the question is, on your comment around AI is eating the world. AI is being used a lot, but there's a lot of computational power and therefore energy required to run all of that. Is it being overused because people are effectively worried about missing out, so they're just trying too much and it's being over applied? I would argue that probably yes, that is the case. I'm definitely not saying that AI shouldn't be used, but to Andrea's point earlier around like the types of AI that are used, they also require different amounts of computational power, and sometimes there's not good reason to apply, for instance, the latest Gen AI to every single problem. And so that would be overuse, in my opinion. There are simpler ways in which you can achieve good outcomes that don't require you to use significant amounts of computational power, which cost more, as well as the cost in terms of energy. So great questions. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Andrea, thank you very much for taking us through that. And hopefully we'll speak to you all soon.